FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr says Democrats are weaponizing the agency to get coverage of President Trump's briefings shut down. The one that we're about to show you again coming up this hour, the White House briefing there about the coronavirus response. Now, that chairman spoke with One America's John Hines in this interview. Take a look.
I wanted to ask you about the recent rejection by the Federal Communications Commission of a petition to investigate how broadcasters are airing President Trump's statements about the CV-19 virus, as well as some of those made by other, perhaps, media personalities. What is going on with this, do you ascertain?
Yeah, what we saw was a sweeping attempt by a group on the left to weaponize the FCC and to use it against elected officials and conservative news outlets that this particular organization had been actively campaigning against. They were attempting to turn the FCC essentially into a roving speech police to shut down broadcasts that didn't fit with their orthodoxy. And to your point, they started by asking the FCC to take action against those broadcasters that do cover the president's daily coronavirus briefing. And so thankfully, this FCC turned back that petition pretty quickly.
Is this sort of a new frontier in the perhaps the politicization attempted politicization, I guess, of the Federal Communications Commission by certain groups, do you think?
I think that's exactly right. I mean, we're seeing a campaign, not just here at the FCC, but more broadly. You see it on social media as well. Any speaker that doesn't fit the far left orthodoxy is largely attacked, and they try to shut them down. And we've seen that happen on social media platforms. And now we're seeing the next front of it here at the FCC. And look, the left has not stopped taking advantage of this coronavirus pandemic to push an extreme agenda. We saw that in Congress with many leaders that tried to use the relief package to put in place this Green New Deal. And now we're seeing at the FCC with these COVID briefings, with petitions coming in asking us to shut down coverage of those briefings. So I think this is part of a broader campaign that we need to continue to speak out against.
How is it that a group, whether they're left, right, or center, can presume that they would infringe on the ability of the president to communicate in a time of national emergency, I'm wondering?
Well, one of the things that's so ironic about this, the group that filed this petition is the spectacularly misnamed Free Press. And Free Press wants the government to come in and regulate the press to fit their view of information that the American public can be seeing. And if you read their petition, one of the things they cited was the president's statement about this malaria drug that may or may not, I'm not a doctor, be making a difference in COVID patients. I happen to know people who have gone through it, have taken that drug and have recovered, but they cited that statement by the president as evidence of what they believe was hoax or misleading information, and that we should shut them down based on that. Now, obviously, this group didn't note the positive statements that liberal politicians from Governor Cuomo all the way down have also made about that same malaria drug. It's just selectively going after conservative voices.
Do you suppose a complaint like this has a chilling impact maybe on certain people who might not express themselves as freely as they would otherwise? Do you suppose that's perhaps part of the intention, that somebody may know that somebody would file a complaint like this or take some kind of action against them?
I think that's right. And that's why it was so important for the FCC to speak up so quickly, so clearly, and to deny this petition. And again, this isn't going to be the last step that we see in this path. This group for years puts the marker out there, and they're a very influential group in telecom circles, notwithstanding the fact of how far left wing they are. They put a marker out there, and then they work to normalize and achieve that goal. Again, government control of the internet, this so-called net neutrality rule, was very much an extreme idea for years. And this is the group that worked hard to get that Obama-era approach to the internet across the finish line. And they're telling us very clearly, this is their new agenda. When they get the votes at the FCC, they're going to look to file petitions just like this and go after conservative voices.
Federal Communications Commissioner Brendan Carr, thank you for joining us on One America News. It's good to catch up with you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.